This is an overview of the latest changes to our management portal. On the left is a list of sites, and on the right is information about the selected site, production information at the top, some graphs in the middle, and location information at the bottom. Selecting a site will show the information about that site on the right. The blue arrow will drill down into the list of gateways at that site. There's only one gateway at each site right now. In the old system, there wasn't a distinction between sites and gateways, but there is here. And once everybody has been moved over to the new system, we will combine the multiple gateways at a single site into a single site, and they'll be listed here together. We can drill down to the list of inverters by clicking on the blue arrow. Here's a list of inverters. On the right is the details about the selected inverter. It's generating. There's last information about when we last contacted the inverter, some production numbers at the bottom, and a nice graph here. On the list of inverters, we can choose just to view the inverters with issues. There's an inverter here which has a fault, so we can look at that one. And scroll a little bit further, we can see the fault is a phase 1 VRMS high, and over here in the voltages table, that shows that phase 1 VRMS is a bit higher than the others, so it looks like it has not been producing today. The no contact one, that shows up here that we have not had contact with this inverter since 116. So the last timestamp is the time that we got last got information from the gateway, but it has not heard from the inverter since 116, has not produced since then either. So let's take one of these and look at some of the charts. The default chart is power for the last 3 days. We can change this to the past week. We can choose other things too. We can do watts, and this is the watts for string 1 and string 2. That's interesting. It's a bit different there. You'll notice that there's a thickness to these lines that shows the maximum and minimums of those values during that little time slice that that piece of the graph is about. If we zoom in, we can click and drag to zoom in. We can see more details. If I zoom in even further, we can see the individual data points that are there on the line. So you can see that this one drops down to here and drops back up to here. So when those are combined together in a larger graph, this would be the thickness, this area shown in here. We can unzoom this to get back to where we started. Some other charts we can look at. We can look at the inverter comparison, which shows the output comparison of the different inverters. Quite a few inverters at this gateway. You can see this last guy over here, he's not producing as much as the others, and this is over the past week. We can compare multiple items here. So let's compare the watts, and on the right axis we'll use the volts, and we'll reload, and this will show the watts and the volts together. It might be easier if we have maybe the past 3 days. The volts is on the right here, 100 up to 400. The watts on the left, 500 to about 4,000. And then down here is the legend for which is watts and which is volts. You can click on one of these to exclude the data or include the data. So if we wanted to see just the string 1 information, then we could just see the string 1 watts and volts. We can also compare between inverters. Let's put this back to power for easy comparison. So this is back to the power for one that there, and we'll choose another one, and now we're going to show the comparison between these two inverters, 19156 and 11456. You can see for some reason one of those is producing quite a bit less power than the other one is. And let's go back to the we can look at the kilowatt hours. And this has a resolution with it, so let's reload this here for the last 3 days. And this shows kilowatt hours. We can change, the resolution is 15 minutes, we can change the resolution to 1 hour. Looks more like this. We'll change the resolution to 1 day, do 1 day the past week. Then it looks more like this, the resolution per day. Let's go back to power. In the upper left-hand corner is the path to where we are. Started with all sites, and we chose the site Bellum Plaza North. We chose the gateway Bellum Plaza North, which is the same as the site right now. And this is the list of inverters there. We can click on the site, Bellum Plaza North, to go back to the list of gateways at that site. And we can also click on all sites to go back to the list of all sites. So So the main reporting functionality is in creating a chart that you'd like to see the data from and clicking on Download CSV. Also over here, in additional functionality, we can open up the menus here and click on Reports, and we can see the site production kilowatt hour per report. You choose the site that you want us to see, and you can choose Mullen A, and then a start and end date. First, you would load the data here, and this will show the data for the month of March. We can also include the inverters and load that, which shows the data for each inverter over the entire time period that was selected there. And this can be downloaded to CSV too. We've also added alert functionality. At the bottom are the rules that will cause the alerts to happen. We can add a new alert rule. Here are the alert rules that we support right now. The gateway has not been seen for more than 60 minutes, has not reported into the back end in more than 60 minutes. Inverter is not reporting to the gateway. Gateway is talking to the back end, but the inverter is not talking to the gateway. Or the inverter is not producing, which means it has a low output over the past 24 hours. We will choose individual sites that you want to monitor these things at, or you can choose all sites. We'll just choose all sites and then enter an email and save the rule. So now we have this rule saved. And anytime this rule triggers, an email will be sent to this email address, and it'll also be listed as a problem up on top here. Unfortunately, I don't have any examples of problems to show right now, but it'll just describe what the problem is, when it happened, and if the problem goes away, then it'll no longer be in this list. So for example, there's a gateway that's not reporting. An email will happen. I come in here and I can see the issue about the gateway not reporting up here. Once the gateway starts reporting again, then this will no longer be listed in the problems up here. And we can go back to the dashboard, and that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching.